You're listening to GWP Live. I'm your host, Isaac Hedges, joined once again by co host Jacob Fulmer. Tonight is March 6th, 2026, on a Friday. We are following the severe weather across our listening area. Again, for our most loyal listeners, viewers out there, again, we were here with you just moments ago. So, again, thank you for all of you tuning in back to back to our live streams. It is very much appreciated. And again, as a thank you, certainly. And in any case, across this severe weather coverage, we will be taking questions again, certainly to our regional listening area. And again, if you fall outside of that, don't worry. Again, we'll try to get you some more in-depth coverage, but you've just got to call in and let us know. Again, if you're not comfortable calling in, you can also put your questions in the live chat. But if you'd like to call in live at any point during this broadcast, well, you can do that. Again, hear yourself on the air. Great opportunity. How often do you get to say you appeared on GWP? Well, again, today might just be your lucky day. So if you'd like to do that, have all your burning questions about this ongoing severe weather cycle answered, you can call 417-448-0819. Have all those burning questions answered. Again, that number is 417-448-0819. So, again, we were going for just a few moments after our last live stream, but again, possible that we've already seen some new developments. Jake, what are things looking like?
Yeah, so we've got a few warnings that have been extended, particularly this one that we were tracking across the Lamar area. Also, some new information that we got in Lamar itself. There was a 63-mile-per-hour wind gust that was reported at 8:18 p.m. So, of course, we mentioned the hail report in Carthage. Well, now we have a damaging wind report of 63 miles per hour. Of course, that is enough to cause damage. Of course, that severe thunderstorm warning was for 60 to 70 miles per hour winds, and it turns out that we did see those 63-mile-per-hour winds move through the area. That same storm that brought that heavy wind to the Lamar area has now moved further towards the east of Interstate 49, and so that has prompted some severe thunderstorm warnings that are currently in effect. So we'll go ahead and we'll look at this new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued. This goes for Hickory, Dallas, Cedar, Benton, Polk, Greene, St. Clair, and Dade counties. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect across all of those areas, so a pretty large area, and that goes in effect until 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we've got the risk for 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. So, of course, that hail is not going to be enough to cause any significant damage, but 60-mile-per-hour winds that can cause damage to roofs, siding, and trees. So that is something that we need to be aware of. That includes Bolivar across this Lake Pomme de Terre, and then Stockton Lake, Truman Lake, the Pomme de Terre State Park, Willard, Buffalo, Ash Grove, Bear Grove, Pittsburgh, Missouri, Humansville, Osceola, Walnut Grove, Polk, Pleasant Hope, Fairplay, Hermitage, Wabalo, Urbana, and Morrisville. So all of those areas are at risk for the possibility of 60-mile-per-hour winds, as well as some penny-sized hail. So that is going to be the concern as we move forward in time until 10 p.m. We've got that severe thunderstorm warning across all of those areas north of Springfield along Highway 54, so US 54. And so some of those cities that are included under this warning, the one until 9:15 goes for El Dorado Springs, and then we've got Wabalo, Wheatland, and Hermitage under that severe thunderstorm warning along US 54 until 10 p.m. along those areas. And then we've also got Highway 13 as well, where we've got some of those alerts, as well as US 65. So Missouri State Highway 13 is under that severe thunderstorm warning. And then we also do have US 65. So it extends from kind of the edge of that Vernon-Barton County line, and it goes all the way to US 65. So a large area that is currently under the risk for some 60-mile-per-hour winds. There is not a tornado threat at this point in time, based on what we're looking at. The strongest of the winds appear to be kind of in this backward sea area around the Stockton Lake area. So that is likely where we're seeing some of the most destructive winds at this point in time.
Absolutely. There, of course, a new severe thunderstorm warning. Again, a very wide reaching one at that. Again, not far from our listening area. Again, very centralized to our area here. Again, of course, a number of lake areas affected by that. Of course, we mentioned Stockton Lake, Pomme de Terre, Truman Lake. Again, all of those areas are going to be affected. So, again, if you spend a lot of time out on the lake, certainly, again, a great thing to do. I love doing it myself, sailing and different things. Maybe not the best time to do it right now. Again, high wind speeds to an extent are great for sailing. But again, these are not great conditions at the moment. Again, if you're on your boat on the lake right now, again, on any one of those like Stockton Lake, Pomme de Terre Lake, Truman Lake, again, any of those, again, if at all possible, you want to get out and you want to find a solid structure, a house or something. And if you don't have one, again, a majority of the year, live in a houseboat. Again, you still want to find a place to take shelter. Again, this is going to be an important thing to do. Again, during these severe thunderstorms, you don't want to be out in the middle of the lake. Jake?
Yes, and so that's on the lowest floor, the most interior room of the lowest floor. That would be the safest structure for you to be in, the safest place within that safe structure. And so that's something to keep in mind. Also, I know that Lake of the Ozarks is not under the warning yet, but this storm appears to be headed that way. And so if you are out on the water, you certainly should consider returning to shore so that you have some time so that you're not caught in the middle of this warning. So we've got that ongoing. We've also got an additional severe thunderstorm warning in our viewing area just to the west of Columbia here. This is going to be moving to the northeast towards Moberly, which is just outside of the area. But at this point in time, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect where a severe thunderstorm was located just 4 minutes ago around the Marshall area, moving to the northeast. So this direction towards Moberly at about 60 miles per hour. 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and penny-sized hail is going to be possible. This is a radar indicated threat. We're looking at damage to roofs, siding, and trees. And so that is going to be the big concern as we go forward in time. That severe thunderstorm warning from the National Weather Service in Kansas City and Pleasant Hill, where the other ones have been from the National Weather Service in Springfield. So that's kind of something to keep in mind with that. So we're going to be watching that. If you are here where I'm at here in Columbia, this storm is not going to affect Columbia. It's going to be headed towards the northeast again, as we said, towards the Moberly area. So we are not expecting to see any impacts here across the Columbia area. So that's something else that we're dealing with. Then we've also got some heavier thunderstorms moving through the Joplin area. Good news is that we don't have any severe warnings for this particular storm, but some heavy amounts of rainfall. We do have some ongoing flood concerns as we've now had a couple of inches of rain across this area over the last couple of hours. And so Joplin is looking at that possibility of a flood threat. So that's something else that we're keeping our eyes on. Then we've got this severe thunderstorm warning in effect across northeastern Oklahoma, just to the southwest of Miami, Oklahoma. And so that severe thunderstorm warning goes in effect until 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and that goes for 60-mile-per-hour winds. Nickel-sized hail is also going to be possible as well, so you'll want to take shelter if you're in that severe thunderstorm warning. We've got some additional flash flood warnings just to the southeast of the Tulsa area around Broken Arrow, where we've had some of that heavier rain. And then we do still have that tornado warning that is in effect around the Pryor Creek area. That continues until 9:30 p.m. This is a radar indicated rotation. This has a history of producing tornadoes, but again, until 9:30, we've got a tornado warning that is in effect across the Pryor Creek area in northeastern Oklahoma, and then some additional severe thunderstorm warnings along this line of thunderstorms to the east of Tulsa, just to the west of where we do have that tornado warning. And then we've still got those additional thunderstorms developing across Kansas. None of these are producing severe weather at this point in time, but it is something that we will have to continue to watch as we go throughout the rest of this evening.
Absolutely, Jake. Some important information there. Just a few of those severe thunderstorm warnings across the area. Again, a number of them, as we mentioned, are in effect. So, again, if you're in one of those areas affected by those severe thunderstorm warnings, you're going to want to plan and act accordingly. And again, certainly, again, a basic thing to do when you're under a severe thunderstorm warning of this sort. Again, if you're sort of caught up in the storm in one of these areas, again, you want to get inside. Ideally, you don't want to be outside during these severe storms. And again, if you really want to be on the safe side, as we mentioned, again, it's a possibility that these things can lead to tornadoes. Again, a limited, very limited possibility in this case, as we previously mentioned, but it's not nothing. So again, if you really want to be on the safe side, the standard for again most severe again storms of this nature, well, when they become more severe, they become tornadoes. So again, in the case of those events, that is, you want to go to the again lowest and most interior room of your home or building. You're going to want to avoid things like mobile homes and different things in that case, of course. So, again, some weather preparedness information, and you can find much more of that in our GWP weather preparedness video. Again, a recent release from Great World Productions. And again, if you need to brush up on some of those concepts, you may even tune in for that right after this live stream. It'll be right here on the Great World Productions YouTube channel. So we've got that. Jake, you also mentioned that in Joplin, Missouri, again, is the possibility of a flood risk headed that way. So again, some important precautions to know. Again, in the case of a flood, of course, in the case of roadways and different things, where again roadways that are usually passable are flooded and different things. Again, if there's some question about whether it's safe to pass through standing water or something like that, with how high it is, again, you might want to avoid it. Might want to try taking another route if possible. Again, while these storms are going on, best case scenario, if you can help it, just don't go outside. Again, just wait a little while if you can help it. But in the case you needed to get somewhere, again, if you encounter one of these flooded roadways and there's a question about it, like, oh, I probably could make it, though there is some standing water, you don't want to do that because hydroplaning is a real risk. And that certainly can happen again if you're trying to drive through those. And again, that's a very common risk. Of course, this hydroplaning thing when flooding is going on, when you've got standing water, again, so many times it happens. Again, people think, oh, well, I'll be fine. There's not that much water. I've got a good sturdy car, and it's high up here, and I'll be just fine. Oh, and then what happens? And then you end up hydroplaning, and again, that's at best, again, could even be worse than that in the case of driving through floodwaters. So, certainly something you'll want to avoid in the case of things like that. Certainly, as we mentioned, the possibility of flooding threat headed for Joplin, Missouri. So, you'll want to watch for that. And if you're in the area, again, as we mentioned, if you can help it, just stay inside. Just don't even bother with that, Jake.
Yeah, so we have some new information that just came in, a new tornado warning that has been issued. So this is actually an extension of the last tornado warning that we had across northeastern Oklahoma. Of course, as we mentioned, this one goes until 9:30. The one just to the northeast of that, this is now for Delaware and Mays County in northeastern Oklahoma. This is from the National Weather Service in Tulsa, Oklahoma, showing that there is a tornado warning active until 10:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're across this area, make sure that you take shelter immediately, like you would for a tornado, because this is a tornado warning, which means that a tornado is imminent or occurring. And so that's something to keep in mind here. So again, we've got Delaware and Mays County under that tornado warning until 10:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. A severe thunderstorm that capable of producing a tornado is located over Hoot Owl in Oklahoma, moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. That was as of 9:14 p.m. You'll notice that this is a radar indicated rotation, which means that we don't have a confirmed tornado at this point in time. But that really doesn't surprise me. And here's the reason why, because this is likely a rain wrap tornado, which rain wrap tornadoes are very hard to see. It's very difficult for these trained weather spotters in order to observe them because the rain completely surrounds the tornado to the point where it's not viewable from a distance. So this is potentially more dangerous than a normal tornado. And the reason why is because you may not even see it coming because it's rain wrapped. So that's one concern that we have. It's also occurring at night, and anytime you're dealing with nighttime tornadoes, that's also a risk. Jay and Grove in Oklahoma, just to the southeast of Interstate 44, is under that tornado warning. Again, as we mentioned, that goes until 10:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, and that goes all the way to the border here. So that is something that we are continuing to track. We're also tracking this severe thunderstorm warning, as we mentioned. That's one of the other big stories across Hickory, Dallas, Cedar, Benton, Polk, Greene, and St. Clair and Dade counties until 10 p.m. Central Standard Time for 60-mile-per-hour winds that could lead to damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Again, this is a radar indicated threat, although it appears at this point in time that it is beginning to weaken, but the threat is certainly still going to be there. As of right now, it appears that it just went towards the east of Wabalo. So between Wabalo and Wheatland is where we have kind of that northern edge. And then you can track that just to the east of Flemington around the Lake Pomp de Terre area. And then we've got Bolivar that just went through the storm. So now it's to the east of Bolivar. And then we've also got Morrisville that's about to be in line for some of that wind. This is about to cross the US 65 area. So areas including Pleasant Hope, Fairgrove, Buffalo, Lewisburg, and Urbana, as well as into the Hermitage area, as well as Preston, are going to be under that risk. Cross Timbers and Edwards as well under that severe thunderstorm warning until 10 o'clock. Again, the leading edge of this line of thunderstorms here, that kind of Boeing segment, the leading edge of that, that is where we're going to have the risk for 60-mile-per-hour winds that could lead to some damages. And then the other warning that we have across the area, just kind of a quick update on that, has now been allowed to expire. So this storm to the west of Columbia, it is supposed to expire at 9:30 p.m., but because it has gone below severe limits, that severe thunderstorm warning has been dropped ahead of the expiration time. And so this storm is no longer capable of producing damage. And so that is good news. So kind of in summary right now, so we've got this storm right here across the Miami area with the severe thunderstorm warning that's about to expire. We've got the Bow Echo across the Bolivar area, Bolivar and Hermitage. That continues until 10 o'clock. That's where we could be looking at some 60-mile-per-hour winds. And then we do have a tornado that could be rain wrapped across northeastern Oklahoma, and some severe thunderstorm warnings just to the west of that, east of Tulsa, where we have some ongoing flood warnings just to the southeast of Tulsa. So that's kind of in summary what we're looking at this point in time.
Absolutely, Jake. As you mentioned, of course, we've been covering throughout the night a number of those severe thunderstorm warnings across the area. Of course, one of them, as you mentioned, again, just outside of Columbia, just dropped off. In fact, it dropped off, it expired ahead of the set time because it just wasn't having those severe effects. So, fortunately, it looks like kind of across our region, these are beginning to drop off again. That would seem to be the indication here. You correct me if I'm wrong on that. Again, you mentioned just a little bit ago, of course, in Oklahoma, still tornadoes going on there. Of course, we mentioned multiple tornado warnings in the area. Again, at least one of those that was cited, and that is still going on across the area there. So, certainly, as we mentioned, if you are in that area, you want to take shelter in the lowest and most interior room of your house, of the building, and again, do that best shot at staying safe on that front. Jake?
Yes, and so yeah, so we still have that severe thunderstorm warning, again, that backwards C shape indicating some of those strong gusty winds. And so that's moving through Wheatland, Hermitage at this point in time, as well as around the Morrisville area, likely seeing some of those stronger winds. And then we do still have that tornado warning, so make sure that you are in your tornado safe place across Jay and Grove, Oklahoma. Now, for the time being, we will go ahead and we will end this live stream. We will come back on an as needed basis.
Absolutely, and we thank you all for tuning again. Again, Jake, as you mentioned, we'll come back on an as-needed basis, so continue to track it. We'll continue to track it, and you'll want to continue to follow us again for the live updates on Great World Productions YouTube channel. Again, quite possible that we will be back with that throughout the night, and you don't want to miss out on that, especially if you're in the area of the severe weather and you could be affected by it. So, again, keep your eyes peeled for that, headed your way, again, from Great World Productions. And that about wraps things up for now. So until next time,
I'm Jacob Fulmer.
I'm Isaac Hedges, host of GWP Live. From all of us at GWP Live and Great World Productions, good night and